we're going to be graphing inequalities in two variables. To graph an inequality, it's very similar to graphing an equation. You simply isolate y and use the m, the slope, and the b, the y-intercept, to graph the line on the coordinate plane. Now the only difference here is it's an inequality. So recall that if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must flip the inequality sign. So to this point, really nothing's new, but we are graphing inequalities. So the symbol does determine what kind of line we draw and where the solution is going to be. So if the symbol has the or equal to underneath, so a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to, it means the points on the line are solutions. And to indicate this, we must draw a solid line. This is similar to a closed circle on the number line, and we have a little smiley face here to remind us of that. So similar to a closed circle, it's going to be a solid line. If the symbol is less than or greater than, so no or equal to underneath, the points on the line are not solutions. And to indicate this, we must draw a dashed line. This is similar to the open circle on the number line. So it's smiley face looks like this. Open circle, dashed line. I would add those to your formula sheet, as well as the fact that if it's a less than or equal to or less than, then we're shading below the line. If it's a greater than or equal to or a greater than, then we're shading above the line. Alright, so let's try some examples. So notice number one, that our equation is not in slope-intercept form. So our first order of business would be to get it into slope-intercept form. I prefer the thin. Okay, so first let's move our x to the other side. So subtract 2x on both sides, which means I'm going to drop down the negative 3y. The symbol is staying the same. And don't forget to put your x first. So it's going to be negative 2x minus 6. For the next step, divide out the number that is in front of y. But it's a negative number, so keep in mind your inequality symbol is going to change direction. And I like to write that first because it's easy to forget as you're going through the problem. So that leaves me with y. Negative 2 over negative 3, you can plug in your calculator, that simplifies to be positive 2 over 3. And then negative 6 over negative 3 simplifies to be positive 2. So there's your inequality. Now before I go to the graph, I like to write down what kind of line. So because the less than has an or equal to underneath, I'm going to write down that it's going to be a solid line. And you have to read the symbol out loud. It's less than. So that means it's going to be shaded below. So go ahead and start at 2 on your y-axis, and then go up to right 3 and put a point, up to right 3 and put a point, or down to left 3, down to left 3. Draw yourself that solid line, and then shade below. Now, as far as solutions go, it's any point in your shaded region, or in this case, because it's a solid line, on the line. So I can use this point right here. That would be 0, 2. I can use any point in the shaded region. So there's another one. That would be 1, negative 1. And let's go over here, 5, 2. So those are 3 possible solutions. Obviously not the only possibilities, but definitely 3 solutions. All right, looking at number 2, I notice it's kind of a weird equation because the y is missing. So you should be asking yourself, what's the boy bucks? I did not just cuss. I said, what the boy bucks? And it's really bucks because I'm missing my y. So that means that I'm going to isolate x. So it'll give me x is less than 4. And it's going to be a vertical line. That's what V stands for in bucks. But let's talk about the type of line. It's going to be a dashed line because there's no line underneath that less than. And because it's less than, I'm going to be shaded. Well, let's wait on the shading. So go over to your graph to 4 and draw yourself a vertical dashed line. So remember I said you shade above or below, but if you look at this, there's really no above or below. We have to think left or right. Well, think about your number line. Remember, if you take your symbol and make it into an arrow, that'll show you which direction to shade. So in this case, I'm going to be shading to the left. For less than. Left, less than. So there you go. Go ahead and get 3 solutions. This time I cannot use points on the line as solutions because it's a dashed line. So that's considered out. Kind of like in football. If your foot goes over the line, you are out, it doesn't count. So let's go ahead and get a couple points. So 0, 2, that's in the shaded region. 1, 0 is in the shaded region, and I don't know, 2, 2 in the shaded region. Feel free to pause if you feel like it's going too fast or slow it down, but we're going to keep going right along. So looking at number 3, let's go ahead and solve for y. So move your x to the other side. We should be feeling pretty comfortable with this. Drop down your negative 6y. Put your x term first. Divide both sides by negative 6. What that means is I got to flip my inequality symbol. And that leaves me with y is greater than 1/2 x minus 2. Just simplifying here, negative 3 over negative 6 is positive 1/2. And 12 over negative 6 is negative 2. So here's your equation. Your inequality rather. It's going to be a dashed line because there's no line underneath. And we're going to shade. Well, what kind of symbol is that? Very good. It's greater than. So that means I'm going to shade above. This video is going to be like Dora the Explorer. She's going to ask you a question and then pause awkwardly until you answer it to yourself. So I want you to do that when I ask a question. So start at negative 2, go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, or down 1 left 2, down 1 left 2. And draw yourself that dashed line. And shade above. Let's get some solutions. Can I use the solutions that are on the line? No, those are not included. So I'm going to get something that's inside the shaded region. So let's just make it easy. 1, 1, 1, 2, and 1, 3. Awesome. What the boy bucks? What's wrong with number 4? Well, it's a y line. It doesn't have an x, so that means that it's going to be horizontal. And y is already solved for, so that's nice. Let's talk about what type of line it's going to be. It has that or equal to, so it's going to be solid. And it's greater than, so shaded above. So go ahead and start down at negative 3. Draw yourself that solid horizontal line. And shade above. Now this time, can I include points on the line? Say it to yourself, yes, because it's solid. So I can include any of these points. I can do negative 3, 1, oh, obviously, that's actually not on the line, although it's still a solution. What I meant was 1, negative 3, or maybe 2, negative 3. That was so right here on this line. So it can be on the line or in the shaded region. So feel free to go back if you, or pause if you need help with anything. But if not, let's continue ahead and we're going to go ahead and flip over and look at some other types of problems. So if you look at number 5, part A says to write the inequality shown in the graph. And then we're going to write down 3 solutions. So let's start with y. Okay. Let's think about the symbol. So first of all, this is shaded below. So what symbol goes with below? Very good. Less than. Now it's a dashed line, so do I get this line underneath? No, I don't, because it's dashed. Now I just need the slope and the y-intercept. So I'm going to go up and find what my y-intercept is. I cross at 3, so b is going to be 3. Pick another point to find your slope. So it looks like I go up 2 over 1, so m is going to be 2 over 1, or just 2. So fill in your inequality, 2x plus 3. 3 solutions, anything inside the shaded region, definitely not on the line though. So we could do 0, 0, we could do 2, 1, or we could do, I don't know, what's another solution? -1, -3. Awesome. Alright, number 6. Determine which ordered pairs are part of the solution for the inequality. Now, really conveniently, they gave us a graph, so maybe we should graph it and see if those land in the shaded region. But I want you to pay attention to this, because on your homework, you're going to have a problem like this, but you are not going to be given a graph. So how can you handle that then? Well, let me show you. So how you would handle that is you would just take your inequality, so 3x minus 2y less than 6, and you would plug in each ordered pair and see if it gives you a true statement. So let's just try that with the first one. So I'm going to replace x with 4. I'm going to replace y with -4. And I want you to just simplify the left side. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus 8, that's -2 times -4. And then 12 plus 8 is 20. Is 20 less than 6? No. So 4 -4 would not be a solution. What about 3, 5? Let's try that one as well. So plug in x, plug in y. So 3 times 3 minus 2 times 5. Is that going to be less than 6? Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 5 is 10. 9 minus 10 is -1. Is -1 less than 6? Yes. So 3, 5 would be a solution. So you can continue with this and plug in 5, 2, plug in -3, 4, and see if they work. And that would be the way to do it if you didn't have a grid. So hint, hint, you're going to do it this way on your homework. Okay? So keep that in mind. But another way to do it, and since we're graphing, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it that way. We're going to graph. So let's go ahead and just solve this inequality for y. So move your x term, putting x first, divide both sides by -2, which means you need to flip your inequality symbol, because I divided by a negative. Simplify each of those fractions, and you'll get 3x minus 3 over 2x minus 3. So that's going to be what kind of line? Very good, dashed, because there's not a line underneath. And say that symbol to yourself out loud. That says greater than. So I'm going to be shading above. So start at -3, go up 3, right 2, up 3, right 2, up 3, right 2. Draw that dashed line. Shade above. So once you have the graph, determining the solutions is easy. All you have to do is plot those points and see if they land in the shaded region. So let's look at 4, -4. Let's put a point there. Is that in the shaded region? No, it's not. So that's how we know that is not a solution. And we saw that when we did it the other way as well. Let's plot 3, 5. Ooh, that is in the shaded region, so that is a solution. What about 5, 2? Nope, not in the shaded region. What about -3, 4? Yep, that is in the shaded region. So there you have it. You have 2 ways to answer a question like that. Which ordered pairs are part of the solution? You can either graph it, or if you don't have a graph, just plug in x and y and see if it's true or false. Definitely you want to refer back to number 6, the first way we did it, when you get to your homework. So maybe don't put away your headphones or your Chromebooks/laptops, because you might want it later. All right, thanks for listening. Go ahead and get started on your you-dos and raise your hand when you're done.